And welcome back, everyone, to Zanpakuto Creation Series. From Obito Uchiha, let's center that a bit. We have the question of what is the Zanpakuto of Flint Marko, aka Sandman? Now, you might be thinking, well, it's a sand-based Zanpakuto. He got turned into sand. It's sand-based. No, that's not how that works. Specifically because that's something that biologically happened to Flint. But that's not who Flint is. That's not, when we look at a character, we look at their personality, their soul. The Zanpakuto is you. You are your Zanpakuto. But this has nothing to do with like your physical attributes or anything like that. Like Komamura does not, frankly, look, or Komamura's appearance as a dog really doesn't affect his Zanpakuto, save for the armor that is worn on it during his when he's normally Komamura. But in Thousand Year Blood War arc, by going through the humanification technique, I think it is humanization technique, it did lose the armor, but that's because he literally took a drastic transformation. Change in biology doesn't really change the Zanpakuto, really. It's about your soul. So Flint gaining the ability to turn into sand isn't actually going to affect him that much in this case. If we were to look at this from the standpoint of him as a Bleach character, you could say he went under an experiment that resulted in his ability to turn into sand, but it did not affect his Zanpakuto at all. His Zanpakuto would be a standard katana like the majority. Its release command would be dig. I think it's pretty simple, honestly. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't have something that kind of lends itself to sand, but hold real quick. Its name, I think, would be Digger, or Kusakuki. Its Bankai name would be Sand Dune Digger, or Sakuhori. And its spirit would be that of a badger. I like the idea of a badger. Kind of a stubborn little animal. Flint is not necessarily the brightest of individuals. He's not stupid per se, but he's a thug. He's a criminal. Now, in terms of what the Zanpakuto looks like, I think it just takes the form of a giant hammer. Like a really big hammer. We don't actually see that in Bleach. We have not seen a Zanpakuto that is just a big hammer, or a hammer in general. So I think that works. What the Zanpakuto does, though, is very simple. If it hits a solid surface, a certain amount of that surface will just be pulverized into dust, into sand, if you will. Especially if he's hitting things like earth and stone. The Bankai of this could be just a bigger hammer. But I think really what it does is it kind of actually lends itself to his metamorphosing abilities, where instead of one hammer, he has essentially two hammers that when he claps them together just create a shockwave that kind of annihilates things into sand and dust. It's a clunky Zanpakuto, yes, but more to the point, if he's got the ability to turn to sand, this Zanpakuto actually lends itself to his abilities as a sand being, because he can now add more sand to his mass and manipulate it. Now, the obvious difference is that it all depends on his Ryatsu. He can't destroy things that are indestructible, for example. It's not a catch-all, be-all technique. Its ability to destroy is dependent on how strong he is, physically and spiritually. And obviously, going against stronger opponents would mean nothing. Like, if this thing I could totally see an Ichigo Kenpachi scenario where if he goes up against Kenpachi, smacks it on him, he's just going to be like, really? Is that it? Is that all you got? I can see that. Absolutely. So it's a very simplistic Zanpakuto, but it's a Zanpakuto I think works for someone like Flint, who's kind of a blunt instrument with a more nuanced ability. But let me know what you think. Do you like this idea? Do you dislike this idea? What would you do different if you would do something different? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.